On this week's edition of The Unpopulist's Executive Watch Abuse of the Week, we're not going to talk about the president's place in the Epstein birthday book, his threats to illegally occupy Democrat-run cities, or how he murdered 11 people in international waters in violation of international law and without congressional approval. Instead, let's take a look at a quieter, more seemingly banal act of executive abuse. It all started when 190 FEMA employees signed the Katrina Declaration, a public letter critiquing recent cuts to agency staff and programs and warning their capacity to respond to major disasters was dangerously diminished, leaving the door open for another catastrophic failure a la Hurricane Katrina. Of those 190 signers, only 36 signed their names out of fear of retribution, and it turns out those fears were well-founded, because less than 36 hours after it was published, 30 of them were put on indefinite administrative leave. This follows similar instances at the NIH and EPA, where public letters also led to the firing of dissenting federal workers. At the time, an EPA spokesperson stated they have a zero-tolerance policy for career officials using their agency position and title to unlawfully undermine, sabotage, and undercut the will of the American public. Well, the folks at FEMA are fighting back. In a letter to members of congressional subcommittees on Homeland Security, the Offices of Special Counsel, and DHS's Inspector General, experts and lawyers representing the FEMA employees argue the department's actions blatantly violate the Whistleblowers Protection and Enhancement Act, because the multiple protected disclosures were plainly a contributing factor, and DHS cannot and will not be able to show by clear and convincing evidence that it would have taken the same action in the absence of whistleblowing. Now, of course, the Trump administration knows this, which is obviously why, in the notice to the employees placed on leave, they explain it was not a disciplinary action or intended to be punitive, but the timing is incredibly suspect. While this might seem boring or low stakes in comparison to other actions, these banal abuses are part of what fuels and facilitates those more blatant displays of authoritarianism. Pete Hegseth loudly fired the U.S. military's top lawyers back in February, which eliminated internal blocks that could have prevented that Venezuelan narco-terrorist strike. By removing dissenting voices, Trump can move fast and break everything. So it's crucial to keep paying attention to all of the president's abuses of power, no matter how milquetoast they might seem. That's your Executive Watch Abuse of the Week. To see the full archive of the project, subscribe for free at theunpopulist.net.